Welcome to Real Food for Real People. This is the show that takes all the angst out of entertaining. Hi, I'm Seagar. I love to cook and entertain, and my whole philosophy on food, in fact it's on life, is more flair and less fuss. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be sharing some really stunning, scrumptious recipes with you that will impress even your most discerning dinner party guests. But I'm also going to show you all the shortcuts and clever little tips and tricks that, you know, really will save your time and let alone your sanity. Right, first up tonight, we're going to do little drinks party pastry cases. The first thing, the two fillings, and the first one is going to be an onion marmalade, and then I'm doing smoked salmon and caviar ones. Right, now this onion marmalade, in here I have got 4 largest onions, you know, bigger than a tennis ball, finely chopped, about the size of your little fingernail, and a cup or a packet of chicken stock or beef stock. I'm actually using beef stock. It's better with beef if you can, because it's a lovely dark brown golden colour, but in fact you can use chicken stock, and the Tetra packs, or you know, frozen homemade if you've got it, you know, that's great. Can't remember when I last made it. Right, and now if you're using chicken stock, you might want to just do a tiny wee cheat with a little splash here of gravy brown, and that just gives it that lovely dark colour. Right, and that just simmers away. Now, don't be tempted to give this a big roaring boil and try and do it in 5 minutes. It takes about a half an hour. But basically, you just stir it every now and then and simmer it away, and the beef stock evaporates, and the sugar in there, oh, I forgot to tell you about the sugar, a tablespoon of sugar. 4 onions, tablespoon of sugar, and a cup of beef stock. And that sugar just caramelises those onions. Okay, now over here, this has had about 35 minutes, and you can see what's happened. It has gone golden, gorgeous, all the stock is evaporated, and it's just sort of simmered away, and it's just yummy. The smell is just delish. Now what we do here is just add some grainy mustard. Now 2 to 3 tablespoons. You can see this whole show we're using cups and spoons and sort of guesswork. You've got to trust your taste buds on this. I love mustard, so I'm going to use a good 3 tablespoons of that. Right, I'll pop that down there. And that just stirs in. Just keep the heat on that low simmer. And then the balsamic vinegar. This is the Rolls Royce of vinegar. It's just fabulous, a wonderful flavour. And I use a 1/4 cup, so you can see that's terribly accurate too, how we measure that. Just pop that down. Right, so that just simmers away, and then you can turn it off in a couple of minutes, and that has just all evaporated, and there's this gorgeous, gorgeous flavour. Yum. Now that's a wonderful, you know, base. It's like a chutney. You can use it for pate, on toast, on fingers, with a cheese board. Wonderful, you know, on a cracker, or in these little pastry cases, which we're going to do, which I'll just get on and make. I'll just turn that off now, and that's just finishing evaporating, and it's just delish. Right, now over here I'm going to use sheets of frozen pastry. I'm actually using Ernest Adams frozen pastry. I find that fabulous. And I'm going to make little pastry cases. You get 16 if you use one of these 5-centimetre cutters. So there's no waste then. I found that really handy. If you go 4 across, leave them on the sheet of plastic, 4 across and 4 down. Yep, perfect. That's just the, you know, it saves all the waste, although I find my children love those little scraps to do a bit of Play-Doh with. There we go. Now, what you do is you leave them on the plastic and just peel them off and tuck them into these little mini muffin tins. The trick with these wee tins is do not scrub, jiff, put them in the stilo, throw them through the dishwasher. They just have a wee wipe with a paper towel, nothing to it. Now just press those in, and we're going to bake them blind. Now you're probably thinking, well, that's great, we've got to get the rice and the beans and the tin foil and all that. But no, I have found a very cunning trick. Actually, I'll just pop that down there too. Here, you've got to buy a couple of sets of these wee tins. At least 2, probably 6. You might as well do the whole lot of these pastry cases, they're so handy. Now to bake them blind, you just press that one in there. Now isn't that cunning? Now what you do to cook it, if I cooked it like this, the pastry would kind of drop to the bottom of the tin, and I get little shallow ones. So the cunning trick is turn it upside down and cook it that way. Just wonderful. Rather a slow oven, about 130. I find fan bake fabulous, about 10 to 12 minutes. You're really just wanting to sort of dry them out. It's not a big kind of golden roasting of these things. There we go. Now I'll pop them out there. Oops, that's quite hot. Perfect little cases. Look at that. Lovely little flat bottom cases. We'll just kind of tip those all off there. There we go. Wonderful. Let them cool down. They're a wee bit soft to fill at the moment. Right, so we're just perfect bite-sized cases. Right, now over here, I'm going to do the filling of them. The first thing you do is a little bit of sour cream, impeccably clean finger, of course, a little bit of sour cream in the bottom. And, of course, you could substitute light sour cream or low-fat, you know, yogurt, that thick, nice homemade yogurt's lovely, that Easy Yo yogurt, if you were watching, you know, the fat content. Right, in with the sour cream. Now, the onion marmalade, it's chilled down here. It's golden, beautiful, gravy, dark colour, lovely. And such a gorgeous flavour, such a useful wee thing to have in the fridge. Keeps for ages. Right, now, a little sprig of parsley. I think that just kind of finishes them nicely. Just a little sprig on there and there. And we'll pop them on. Leave the sour cream showing. I think people like to, you know that there's something else underneath there. You don't get that splodge down the silk shirt and all that business. Right, now, caviar. My trick here is that if you use a whole lot, they think it's not real. So smoked salmon and caviar, I just, you know, quite generous with the smoked salmon, but just quite stingy with the caviar, and then they can really think that they've got the real thing. Right, a little bit of smoked salmon. It's taken me years to find out that they have a start here, open here kind of packet thing on the packet. Bit of a fiddle otherwise, and you're always opening at the wrong end. Now, on goes that wee bit of caviar. Remember, just a stingy bit of that. Lovely. Now, a little green sprig, I think, is stunning. And with this other one, that's using the lumpfish roe caviar. With this other one, I'm going to use gorgeous New Zealand smoked salmon caviar, which is lovely golden balls of salmon, just beautiful. Ask at your, you know, wherever your fishmonger, wherever you're buying your fish, and they will provide it. It is a seasonal thing, so you can't get it all year round, but if you request it, they will get it in. There it is. Look at that. A perfect little mouthful. Yummy. Pre-dinner drinks. Now, do join me after the break. I'm going to be doing chicken breasts wrapped in bacon, stuffed with char-grilled pepper and spinach. Absolutely yum. Now, I love meringues, and it's a great way to end a dinner party, but what about filling them with lemon curd, crystallized ginger and walnuts? I'm going to start with the lemon curd. Very simple. 4 eggs, just lightly beat those, and 2 cups of sugar. There we go, into there. The juice and zest of 4 nice juicy lemons. Just pop that in. Keep stirring that over very gentle heat, and 100 grams of butter, which is just cut up into nice fine little dice. There we go. Now, some people do this in a double boiler, but I actually find it's great if you just keep your heat nice and gentle and do it in here. The trick is not to go away. Don't answer the phone. Don't leave it. It can turn to scrambled eggs really quickly if you're not standing there whisking. I find this whisk fabulous because it stands up in the pot. So keep that really gentle and just stand around and whisk. Okay, we'll make sure it's nice and low and get on with the meringue and the pav. The same recipe for pavlova, that's the good news. Now, it's 6 egg whites. I've used large size 7 eggs here, and you whip them in a glass or china or metal bowl, not plastic. You can't get them terribly, you know, absolutely scrupulously clean. So you whip until it's nice and frothy. There we go. Trying to get lots of air into it. Right, now that is the frothy stage, and this is where you've got to add your sugar very slowly. Don't try and rush this. Don't chuck it all in and think, I'll do this in 5 minutes. It's a 10-minute thing and a teaspoon at a time. So just plan it. You can make it a lot of time in advance, but do it slowly. That's dissolving the sugar as you go. There it is. That's 2 cups of caster sugar, well beat it in, and it's beautiful and glossy and golden and thick. Don't be tempted to rush that. Now comes the flavouring. Of course, you know, vanilla's the usual flavour, but I find the Watkins butterscotch an absolute gorgeous essence, and that is exactly a teaspoonful, and the same for a bit of malt vinegar. That just helps set and give you that lovely butterscotchy butterscotchy flavour and the wonderful crisp meringue with a gooey, yummy, chewy centre. And in goes 2 teaspoons of corn flour. That just needs a final little whisk through. Just doing this on low, just to finally whisk that through. There it is. Now, lovely soft meringue. Look how that is just beautiful. Now, I could throw that all onto this paper-lined baking tray and make a big pav, but I'm going to do little individual meringues today. So what you do is get that clean finger again, that handy kitchen gizmo, and just put them on like that. Make nice little, leave a gap between them and nice little mountains on the top, little peaks, like that. Very simple. You can make little tiny baby ones or great big ones, whatever. If you wanted to put fruit in them, just hollow out a wee bit there. Right, now there it is, so quick and easy. I'm going to pop that in the oven. If you weren't watching, I'd be licking my finger. Right, 120 degrees on fan bake, just perfect. About 35 minutes, these are ready. These have had about 40 minutes, and look at that, just gorgeous. Beautiful little fluffy meringues. Now, you can tell when they're cooked because they just easily lift off the paper like that. Makes for no mess too. You can just quickly fling that paper away or use it again. That's it. The same with the pavlova. It takes about an hour and a half, but it just comes off, lifts off that baking paper. So we'll pop those over there. Wonderful. Right, now pop that there. Let's fill these lovely ones. These ones have cooled a wee bit. Now, what we need is lemon curd. Now, this is what it's like after it's had all its time and it's allowed to chill. Lovely, smooth, gorgeous lemon curd. And you can make that with tangelos or limes or whatever. Now, I'm going to put a little bit of cream on and a little bit of lemon curd. I'll start with cream here. Onto one of those lovely meringues. On with a wee bit of lemon curd. Yum. It's nice to have a little bit drizzling out and showing. And a little bit of the chopped walnuts and chopped up crystallized ginger. Ooh, ooh, and on goes the top. Jam them together. What a taste sensation. The sharp lemon curd and that lovely, smooth, crunchy meringue. Right, let's run through what we've cooked this evening. We started with the little pastry cases with onion marmalade and some with smoked salmon and caviar. Lovely way to start a dinner party. And then there's the chicken breast wrapped in bacon, stuffed with char-grilled pepper and spinach on that lovely tasty couscous with a sweet chilli yogurt sauce. And then for that divine end of the meal, butterscotch meringues filled with lemon curd, crystallized ginger and walnuts. I've used the same recipe to make a big pav here, gorgeous big generous pav. And how about that? The little pastry cases with lemon curd and tiny meringues on the top, baby lemon meringue pies. Thanks very much for joining me tonight. I hope you've enjoyed the first show. Now do join me next week when I'm going to be making lemon shrimp baby quiche, a spinach tortellini with mushrooms, chilli and crispy bacon, and a lovely easy peasy microwave chocolate cake with a chalky fudge sauce. So until then, good night, and just remember that what's important in life, moderation, not deprivation. Good night.